Okay, looks like we have a good number and we are officially a minute after. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our second employee transition webinar. Today, we'll be talking about crossboarding and one-time activities within the Click platform. Super excited. I have the privilege of joining Danielle Balo here. So let's just do a couple introductions. Danielle, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I'm Danielle Balo. I've been with Clickboarding for about 5 years, and I lead digital transformation at Clickboarding. So I have the pleasure of working with clients to understand what their business process pain points are, integration pain points, and our team provides solutions and recommendations to truly fit the needs of their business current state and future. What's awesome is no one business is the same. So it's a lot of fun, and we really love to see the transformation take place, kind of like a before and after. So I'm really excited to show you guys a little bit about crossboarding today.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. And my name is Michelle Graham. I'm Click's head of marketing. I've been here about 3 years. And so I get to do a lot of fun things like this, going to events, participating in thought leadership with HR professionals like you all. And it's my favorite part of my job. So super excited to be here. And talk crossboarding and one-time activities. So with that, Danielle and I are going to showcase 3 different workflows of use cases within that crossboarding and one-time activity space. So first, when it comes to crossboarding, it's important for us to define what that means, right? A lot of employees and companies define this differently. For us at Click, it's really any type of transfer or internal mobility transition at an organization. Within their tenure after their onboarding period at any point within their employment life cycle. So that could include a promotion, a lateral move, a relocation geographically, right? A temporary assignment, a reorg. Lots of examples here that you can administer within the platform. And today, Danielle is going to show 2 examples of this. The first on a promotion and the second on a relocation. And this will include some tactical steps to collect content and data points in a compliant manner, as well as engagement tactics to interact with employees in a meaningful way during this transition. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and hand off to Danielle for the first workflow.
Thanks. Just to get everybody kind of in like the right mindset. So what we're seeing here is just one example of how we leverage our platform. So maybe they've already done their onboarding, and now what we really want to do is engage with the employee, and they're actually going to go down a promotion workflow first, like Michelle said. So she's going to log into the platform. For the first time, if she hasn't logged in before, she will set up her password and security questions. Clickboarding is SOC 2 Type 2 certified, GDPR compliant. We had a little bit of fun here, I see, with our security answers, so super top secret. But once she logs into the platform and clicks accept, she is now within the Clickboarding workflow. Now, these are 100% configurable and can be owned and managed by you. So we always start with, congratulations. I love this picture. She's like so excited. Like, I just smile looking at this, but that's what you want to do, right? You want to get them excited, especially since they're going through a promotion workflow. So just a quick, here's why we're here. And then she's going to apply her e-signature. So this is proprietary to Clickboarding, comes with purchase of the product and the platform. And it applies the IP address, the date, the timestamp, printed name, e-signature to any agreement, offer letter, policy moving forward. Here you'll see that the offer letter has been configured, new pay rate, manager, etc. is all set here. And then she can also scroll down, download the offer letter, and then you'll see that she can open it here because she's using Chrome within her tray. And then she's just going to apply the e-signature, and it's literally that easy. You can also give them cues and suggestions, right? So what do I do now that I've accepted my offer? What comes next? So cues in terms of things that you should talk about with your current leader for transition, as well as your new leader, access, systems, equipment, building access, right? It could be any and all of those. Also share with them maybe the leadership team, right? You know, fun facts. I love a couple of these that we show here. I think Michelle's going to scroll to the bottom here in a minute, and that his name is Robert and that Bob is his dad, right? So you can have some fun, showcase a little bit of that personality aspect. And then also, you know, as they move into a new role in a new team, if you want to get them aligned with a new colleague or a mentor or a buddy, you can leverage the product to collect information in terms of like, what are you looking for? You can even put placeholder text there to give them ideas, because sometimes people are like, am I supposed to be, you know, showcasing something personal versus professional? And again, these are just examples of how you would provide not only the tactical things like offer letters, but also the engaging elements and getting them excited and generating some of that really kind of the emotional activities around it. Social media, you know, if you want to do an announcement, it could be a photo of you hiking, you know, doing some type of gaming convention, right? Like whatever that person is excited about. And then you can even take a selfie, right? So if they were doing this on their mobile phone, you could take something from your photo library, and then you just wrap with, again, starting on a high note and ending on a high note. And it was literally that easy. And you can configure as much or as little within a promotion on a workflow based on what you want your employees to see. And we are there as well to provide recommendations.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. I'm glad you liked my jokes there with some of the new team members.
You have to have some fun.
You do. We did have a couple questions come through the Q&A feature here. A really good one. You did demonstrate that offer letter. Can you tell us how that's administered on the back end?
Yeah, so clipboarding is a guided or a linear platform. And essentially what that means is that you can't go on to step 2, for example, until you complete step 1. So behind the scenes, we actually created the offer letter first as the hiring manager or the recruiter for that role. So the recruiter actually gets to input all of those data fields like pay rate, PTO, new manager, and then they'll be able to preview it and actually see what the offer looks like before that employee goes down the workflow and receives an email and or a text message, getting them into the clipboarding platform.
Awesome, thank you. And another one that just came in, Danielle, can clipboarding integrate with single sign-on applications within a company so the person does not need to create or have separate username and password for our system?
Yes, yep, we offer that as a standard. Awesome question.
Love it. Okay, one more here. Are we able to adjust the text headers and descriptions within these different process flows and steps?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can, all of the language, the images that you saw, 100% configurable. So if you're like, maybe give me something to start with as an idea to generate like what I might want, that's where we start at clipboarding. And then we'll actually show you how to upload your own images and how you can edit your text headers, etc., so that it really fits the needs and the vibe, culture, and feel of your organization. So this is just one example of what it could look like.
Wonderful. Keep the questions coming here, everyone, through chat, and we will dive into now our next workflow example of crossboarding. In this case, a geographical location for someone moving to a new location. So I will go ahead and share again and hand off to Danielle.
Awesome, thanks. So you're going to see here, this is literally like another set of activities. So when she clicks start next set of activities, she'll literally get an email and or a text message. You can log in via SSO. And then she's going to now this time walk through a little bit of instructional information on relocation. Imagine if your corporate office is moving, right? This is a really good example. But what we're just saying is, here's what you can expect here. So people are sometimes kind of questioning, like, what is this? Why am I here? So we generally recommend some type of like level setting of why you're here. Now, this is interesting because you'll see that we're collecting information. And we're doing that because if they're moving, right, we're collecting information and making updates. So if they're moving from one location, one city, et cetera, to another, you're going to need that information to update in your HCM solution. So clipboarding can actually package that information up and send it to your HCM solution to update your employee record with as few or as little data points as you like. And then here, what we're just showcasing is that the employee can actually look at the output of the document in preview before hitting submit and moving on. Now, again, if they're going across state lines or even sometimes municipalities, Clipboarding has a tax wizard, which looks at where the employee's home address is and where their work address is, and they will actually serve up the appropriate tax forms depending on those two pieces of information. So here you're seeing that she's relocating to Minnesota, and if you can't tell, I'm from Minnesota. Maybe that accent is coming through loud and clear, but based on that, it's saying based on your situation, you need to do the federal W-4 as well as the state Minnesota form. So if she was living in North Dakota and working in Minnesota, the tax forms would be a little bit different, right? So it's literally walking her through step by step and asking, do you have any dependents? And just over on the left, you're starting to see her progress. And it's asking all of those critical data points or pieces of information. And then she even just clicked here so that you can see the output of the W-4. Now, we store this information as well. So just like I mentioned, us storing data points of home address, we can still collect tax deduction information as well and send that information over to your HCM and payroll solution. Sometimes they're synonymous, sometimes they're not. And here, right, so this one is specific to Minnesota, and you'll even see on the bottom in that grayed out, calculated values are changing. So based on her answers, it's actually showing those computed values and helping her set up her specific deductions. Minnesota requires a phone number. And then here, you'll see that she can go through print, view, and then click submit the form. And it is literally that easy. So once she's done with taxes, Clipboarding can then send that information to your payroll solution. And we've got everything we need to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information on your side as well. While you're also offering up some engaging elements, such as, hey, we're going to connect you with someone, your new on-site associate, help you get assimilated to the culture. If you're moving to Minnesota, we like to say soda, not pop. Actually, there's a big debate. I think it's actually half and half in the Midwest. But somebody like your on-site person could share that kind of stuff with you. So really just kind of getting them prepared again. So maybe you need a new badge. So the same functionality could be used for things like collecting licensures, certifications, photos, IDs, etc. And then finally, dress code. So what do I wear? Or maybe I'm relocating, so what do I have to wear in the office? When I was previously working remote, I could wear sweatpants every day, right? So really just kind of setting the expectations so that they're prepared and even where to go. And I should mention that some of these forms like this one that you see on screen here, we offer over 120 forms with purchase of the product like this one. And then you can build and configure as many pieces of content, images, data collection, etc. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. It always blows me away how simple the taxes are because it scares me every time. But it is as easy as that. We did have another question come through during, which is a great one related to both the promotional workflow and this one. How easy is it to update information on the back end, like a team member image, so that it stays current?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. So Clipboarding can actually, you can get the data a couple different ways. So if we are collecting an image like a badge photo or social media, whatever those examples may be, we can either export the information or the data or the forms, including images, as well as you can come get it via API. So it really depends on how you want to collect the information, or you can go into Clipboarding and grab it on the employee record or profile. So there's a lot of options, and really kind of what we would recommend is based on your unique business and use case and even the scale, right? So if you're just doing this for one business unit, that's a little bit different than if you're doing it for an entire country, right? Or multiple countries. So based on that, we might have different recommendations on how to get those images depending on your use case.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. Another one that came in through the Q&A functionality. In this case, we collected a new address given the relocation. So can this data be shared with other HR tech platforms?
Yeah. In short, the answer is yes. So we can share it with one HR tech platform, multiple, depending on what your needs are. So if you're doing new provisioning, for example, as well as payroll, maybe Clipboarding is sending that data to your provisioning tool so that you can get a new, cell phone, laptop, monitors, as well as your payroll solution. So number one, deductions are super important. Everybody wants to get paid, but then also other solutions such as a provisioning platform as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. And one more here, a really good one, more a question in regards to the administrative portal. When new employees upload documents like their W-4 that we saw here, how do HR team members access those?
Yep. So same functionality like I was mentioning about like the badges or the images. So we can either send those forms to you automatically, so you don't have to like hit a button or download them manually on your own. Or with the, like if you don't need a copy of the actual W-4 and you just need that data in your payroll solution, for example, we can just send that data to your payroll solution. So there's two types of exports. There's data exports and form and image exports that we offer.
Awesome. And it's funny, on the candidate side of things, or for employees, they can also go into the platform at any time and download their original files from the system. I know this personally because I just did it myself, wanting to access my W-4s for a house application. So on both ends, it's really seamless and intuitive to go back into the platform and download. All right. I think those are all the questions for the geographical relocation. And next, we're going to walk through an example of a one-time HR activity. So slightly different in this case from a crossboarding activity, in which you can really administer any sign-off or policy, agreement, etc., throughout the life of your employee, again, within their tenure. And the actual content or topic of the sign-off is the sky's the limit there, really. It depends what you need for your organization. Because we support multimedia content, it's all about uploading your forms, your PDFs, and simply using the platform to capture sign-off. So in this case, again, I'm going to hand off to Danielle here, the expert, but we're going to showcase examples of one-time activities for annual policies around travel expenses, as well as sales comp plans. So with that, I will share the third and final workflow.
Yeah, and so as Michelle's getting that set up, one thing I would say is, the name of the game is to make this effortless and easy, right? It shouldn't be hard for you or for your employees to go through this process and review information. So here, last time we're asking her to log back into the platform, and now we're setting expectations. So we are going to review those policy updates and plans, and then even sharing like who to reach out to. So at the bottom, it says your HR representative. Next time it could be a manager, right? So depending on the situation, that may be different depending on that workflow. Now you may notice that we've collected e-signature a couple of times throughout the demos here. And the reason why is because, we're fast forwarding in time from a promotion to a relocation to an updated comp and policy plan. And so we collect the signature each time because we're not going to store the one e-signature that was collected on October 26, 2022 and apply that to every document moving forward. So the reason why we collect it multiple times is to ensure that we have the accurate date, timestamp, and again, like even that IP address. Here again, just kind of showcasing that you can download the policies. This one would be a good one, compensation, offer letters. And then once they have the ability to review and click I agree, they can move on. This is pretty cool, but this is something where you can literally just upload your existing PDF document, and this can be deployed in a workflow for your entire sales team or your sales and marketing team, right? Like whatever that is. And this is how the product, or excuse me, the paperwork or the document would render within the product, as you see here. And it's literally that fast. The idea again is effortless, painless, and now you've got notifications and the documents you need signed, and they can always go back and review their information here as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again. And I actually want to start out with a question because I loved the example you gave for sending a document to sales team members specifically. Can you speak to the configuration of workflows and content based on the type of employee and how that's administered?
Yeah, 100%. So we have workflows that are based on, situations or events, and sometimes roles or different departments or parts of the business. So for example, you might send somebody down a sales workflow as even just hiring them, onboarding updated policies that somebody in, for example, IT or tech doesn't see, right? Their roles are different, the expectations and the information is different. So you can actually configure the workflows in clipboarding to really tailor it to the needs of the audience. And so that they don't feel like, okay, this is just something that they're sending to everybody and only half of this applies to me. Rather, they're actually getting content that's relevant to them. And the platform is made for HR practitioners, not IT folks who need to read JSON and HTML. So it's really easy to upload documentation and deploy a workflow within a few clicks of a mouse.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Another one that came in throughout that last workflow is we saw that there were examples of due dates associated with sign-offs. How can we determine if someone is behind schedule or if they're stuck in the process and where they're at?
Yeah, I love that question. So clipboarding has the ability to configure automated notifications to not only the employee, but also the team that is responsible for overseeing and or administering the process. So for example, I might receive an email that says, hey, your due date, we know life gets busy, your due date's approaching, can you go in and complete your activities? And then also at the same time, an HR representative or hiring manager might receive an email saying Danielle's approaching her due date, maybe reach out to her. And you can get as informative as you want with those automated notifications, and the due dates can also be set by you. So we'll say like out of the box, the employee has 7 days to do it, and any HR or administrative task is 14 days, but you can say, I actually need this done in 3 days and HR needs to do it in 4. So you can literally set those expectations depending on the unique situation.
Awesome. And a related question on that front, outside of the HR administrators, can you speak to examples of how other team members might be alerted, say IT, for instance?
Yeah, so there are a number of like out of the box notifications that we just provide with the product. And so you can actually say IT needs to know as soon as Danielle signed this one step, or she completed this activity. And that might even be, think of it as like a line of dominoes, right? So if you can do like multiple lines of dominoes with like, 3 forks and you start like down here, right? And once you push that first one, each of those domino lines are kicking off and the IT team's doing something, HR team is doing something else. But what's cool about it is that you can do it when the activity is needed to kick off. So not too soon and not too late. And right when you get that, the data that IT needs or the action from the employee. So that all can be configured as well. And it's literally like drag and drop, send the email to this IT team here.
Awesome. Yeah, I just got to see that on the back end as well. I recently hired a new employee, and when she was going through her kind of 90-day onboarding process, I was alerted that she completed benefits. So I didn't have to do anything. It was just an alert that came into me as the assigned hiring manager. So I don't have to, go out of my way chasing down answers or reaching out to the individual. It's all through nudge notifications, which is just really nice to ensure that we're all held accountable, right?
Well, and even on that aspect too, you can go in and look at the progress of the employee. Somebody on our executive leadership team has dubbed it the Domino's Pizza Tracker. But basically you can go and look and say, okay, where is Danielle, new hire Danielle employee, right? And is she done? Is she stuck? So even if you are curious or want to look and see, when you're hiring someone, onboarding, or even exits, right? You can see exactly where somebody's at and determine if any action is needed outside of the nudges that we provide automatically.
Awesome. And I think that concludes our questions for crossboarding and one-time activities. And I know we're coming up on time here, so want to be respectful. So thank you everyone for joining us today for our second employee transition webinar series with guest host Danielle today. We'll be sending out a recording after the fact. If you missed us 2 weeks ago, we dove into pre-boarding and onboarding. So don't miss that. You can view it at any time on demand. And in a couple of weeks, we'll come back around with Craig again on the offboarding workflow experiences. So thank you again for taking time out of your day. We know you're all busy. We really appreciate it. And don't hesitate to reach out at any time if we can help answer questions.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.